I mentioned pre-recording now, you're someone that I followed literally since I entered or transitioned, tried to transition into the field of UXR. So you're someone that I've just followed, I've taken inspiration from, and also it's been something that's helped me just guide me through the noise that you could call it that's on LinkedIn and social media around this field. So it's a privilege to get you on and actually have a conversation with you one to one.
Thank you very much for having me.
No problem, no problem at all. So I guess that the logical place to start will be just for our audience. I'm sure they know who you are, but maybe just to go into a bit more detail around who Nick Fine is. So yeah, just a bit about you.
Sure. I mean, I'm effectively I think it's 16-year practitioner.
Wow.
So that's the nutshell. You know, I started like most of your listeners, I started as a green, inexperienced, no UX person,
Yeah.
and I stayed in a practitioner role.
Mm.
Arguably, the last 5 years have been in a lead practitioner role, but as a
Okay.
practitioner for that 15, 16 years since 2009.
Wow. Okay.
So that's really where that's me in a nutshell, because I can talk to you about things that I'm good at or specializations, but really that's the core of me. I'm
Yeah.
a 16-year researcher, sleeves rolled up, hands on, talking to people, observing people, writing up, analyzing, presenting.
I
You know,
love that.
all the things that are very, very familiar to everybody that's listening.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, that's the job, that's the role.
Yeah.
um, I don't know if you like football and Roy Keane. That's his phrase. That's his job. But yeah, like that's UX research, and it's nice as well that you focus in on that because, like you say, there is a lot of talk around specialization, around what you're good at, what you should focus on. But yeah, the nitty-gritty of UX research is observing, listening, and watching. So that's nice to hear. And just to maybe go back to 2009, what were you doing before you moved into this field? What was it, a related field, or how did that look?
There was, well, the long story short was in 1999, around September, kind of this dot-com bubble kind of got created, and I was right at the center of it. Um, my best friend, my childhood best friend that I'd known from school at 6 years old,
Wow.
um, is a really big fintech guy. And he was a stockbroker, and this internet thing was coming around. I had been working for internet service providers since
Okay.
about 1996,
Mm.
when internet wasn't what it was today, right? You had to sell people on the idea of you want to buy the internet, you know. Um, and the dot-com bubble happened. They came to me and said, "Hey, Nick, would you like to be our chief technical officer?" Because I was a networking guy at the time, and
Mm.
I did, and it was all good and it was wonderful. But then the dot-com bubble burst. That's when I was like, right, well, you know what? It's dead out there. There's not a lot of money. I might as well go back to university. I did a master's in HCI for 1 year, thinking
Mm.
that would be fine because it combines my computer science of life with my psychology of academia. And there
Yeah.
you go. That's HC, you know, that's UX in a nutshell, or human computer interaction.
Mm.
That that bubble burst, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, um, Everything came crashing down. I thought, well, I'm just going to stay in academia because when looking out the window, it's
Mm.
still really rubbish out there. There's all the VC money has gone. There's
Yeah.
no big projects. There's nothing good going on. I just got a distinction for my master's, and my lecturer, my professor said to me, "Yeah, why don't you do a PhD?" And Dr. Nick sounded really cool, and that's basically what I did. Um, I defended that PhD in 2009 and entered the
Okay.
workforce shortly thereafter. And I've been a
Wow.
practitioner ever since. I want to just say something though, Dale.
Mm.
Being a practitioner is really underplayed today,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
There's not enough respect and value placed in it.
Mm.
Everyone wants to ascend to leadership as quickly as possible. And I
Yeah.
totally understand that. I
Mm.
totally understand that. You want money, you want recognition, you want respect, you know, all of the good things.
Yeah.
But I would just say to people, I deliberately stay at the practitioner at level. I don't want to
Mm.
be sitting in meetings. I don't want to be signing off holidays and all the other stuff that goes on, right?
Yeah.
I'm a psychologist. I
Mm.
really enjoy people,
Yeah.
right? That's my putty.
Yeah.
So if I'm not doing people, I'm
Mm.
doing meetings and stuff that isn't fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
all you need guys need to know is that after 16 years of doing this stuff, day in,
Mm.
day out, up and down, all around, you
Yeah.
learn an incredible amount, not
Yeah.
just about people or not just
Mm.
about subject matter, but the nature of building, how to make products, how to
Mm.
interface with the rest of the business, all the really tough soft skills. So
Mm.
stick with it. If it sucks being a practitioner, and it does at times, it's
Yeah.
really hard work. I
Mm.
want to tell you, hang in there. The investment in yourself is massive, way
Mm.
beyond any training course, any boot camp, anything.
Yes. Yeah.
If I stop my practitioner work, and that's why I've stayed here, I
Mm.
feel like I'm going to lose my power,
Yeah.
right?
That's
And
true.
I don't want to do that. I want to stay hot, sharp, stay good. So I've
Mm.
stayed practicing because it constantly pays me back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas
Yeah.
if I say, "Oh, hi, I'm Nick. I'm head of UX at big fancy brand," okay, that's cool, but it's not
Mm.
cool on a daily basis,
Yeah.
or it's not
No.
cool over the long term. Yes, it looks great in my CV.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's the draw for many people as well. Obviously, like you said, there are some people that do aspire to have those roles and enjoy those roles, and that's fair enough and good for them. But yeah, I think a lot of the time people are drawn to those roles in a fantasyful way that it will be better, the grass is greener. I don't know, you'll have that position, more money, more respect, but like you say, the actual day-to-day role of a head of UX or principal or whatever titles they're given is signing off holidays and in meetings, signing off projects. You're not actually involved in the nitty-gritty. You're just probably seeing the start and the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a palpable mark in I think the UX career. I think it's probably around 2 years, maybe 3 years, because I remember feeling this myself.
Mm.
Where after 2 years you're like, you start thinking, I'm senior, I've seen it all, and it's like, oh my God, okay, you really haven't, but that's normal. You start after a couple of years, you start to think, well, why aren't I a senior?
Mm.
Um, and it becomes really difficult. Um, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yes, at 2 years, maybe 3 years, you feel this. I think I want to say it's like a dawning or a realization, right?
Mm.
That this is hard going,
Yeah.
right? Right. And some people, or a lot of people, I know I did, they look at the
Mm.
door,
Yeah.
right? Because it's hard. You're getting
Mm.
beaten up by stakeholders, by participants, long, long hours of analysis, which thankfully for the future of it with AI is
Mm.
unlikely. But still, historically, it's a lot of very, very heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Um, and so people look at the door. And when I say look at the
Mm.
door, they're looking to go upwards. They're looking to join management because then
Yeah.
I can do things that aren't this, right?
Absolutely.
Um, and lots of people do that, and fair enough. I get it.
Yeah.
But if you can get past that,
Mm.
right? If you can say, "Do you know what? No, I'm going to stick this out,"
Yeah.
and you get 3, 4, 5 years of practitioner under your belt,
Mm.
and then you want to go into leadership, you will be an infinitely
Yeah.
better leader, without question.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What
No.
you're
No.
seeing,
100%
a lot
agree.
of the redundancies you're seeing, unfortunately, are people who overplayed their hands, who aren't delivering value, and
Mm.
because they've ascended to seniority or leadership prematurely,
Yeah.
because they've, through keenness and eagerness, and that's admirable.
Mm.
But if you haven't got the chops, it
Mm.
will come back and bite you. Now
Yeah.
that we're in a commercial world, that's just the hard truth, unfortunately.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. And yeah, I think being junior is looked down upon, or people feel that it's inadequate, or you're not what's the word? You're not a real UX researcher. Let's say you're still learning, but for me, there's nothing wrong in learning. You
Yes.
should be learning your whole career, even when you are a senior. You should be looking to improve. That cycle of learning should never stop. And if it does stop, then for me, there is a problem there because it means you're getting too comfortable and you're starting to rely too much on your previous knowledge, which is useful up to an extent.
I think that growth mindset has gone, right? It was
Yeah.
a big deal a number of years ago. We even talked about it on LinkedIn. We talked about continued professional development. There was lots of stuff going on even before the pandemic, there were meetups and other
Yeah.
opportunities to meet and greet and learn and share.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, Conferences are really variable, very
Yeah.
variable.
Yeah.
The curation of them is very variable.
Mm.
There's a lot of broadcasting agendas,
Mm. Yeah.
right, and political stuff rather than education and learning.
Yeah.
And I've been caught up in all of that stuff because
Yeah.
it's a commercial world. It's going to happen.
Yeah,
But
of course.
we need the purity of learning,
Mm,
devoid of all that not nastiness, but those market pressures.
of course, yeah, yeah. There's figures to meet, and like you say,
Yeah.
agendas also to live up to. Wait,
There, there was,
go, go.
there's one thing though that what happens is I call it social media ego, right?
Mm,
Because social media is such a dominant force in our lives by now, and everybody has a personal brand, and they have this need to effectively corporate mask
yeah.
for social media. It
Mm,
means that there's a feeling of fake self-confidence that is generated,
mm,
right?
yeah.
And I think that fake self-confidence
Mm,
encourages a strong top-down mindset, which in itself shuts down the growth mindset. It
yeah.
closes the mind off.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
when you already know,
Mm,
or you have to be seen to know, you can't learn, or you can't be seen to learning.
yeah.
And that's pretty much most of the market today, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, no, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. One thing I wanted to actually pick your brains on around this growth mindset, and I've had this personally as well. Sometimes I would still consider myself junior. It was 4 or 5 years that I've been a UX researcher, but I still like to keep myself at that level because I don't want to get too ahead of myself. And like you say, find myself in a role that I feel is not up. I'm not that I'm not good enough, but that I can't reach or have the impact that I should have in that certain seniority level. But I find sometimes that I feel I don't have the time to really dedicate to learning to grow. If someone finds himself in that situation because roles are so demanding now,
Yep.
and there is that pressure to perform, to show your impact within an organization because budgets are being cut and you
Yep.
see redundancies around you. So you kind of are in that middle ground of, okay, I need to deliver this impact, but I also need to learn and to grow. Do you have any advice for someone in
Yeah.
that position?
Yeah. Well, everybody's in that position. And the reason why I'm so vocal on LinkedIn and other places is
Mm,
because people shouldn't be in this position.
yeah.
What has happened is we, I'm going to say some spicy stuff now. So sorry, audience, this just needs to be said. There's the leadership tier in UX is a universal problem.
Mm,
Um, when the UX gold rush happened about 10 years ago in 2015, we got every creative and art director in the world coming into UX.
mm,
And they came into UX with their top down mindset. And they
right.
hired people with top down mindset and visual skill sets. And
Mm,
that's every single UX department, or the vast majority of them in the world today.
yeah.
And that's really a big problem
Mm,
because UX has become this kind of visual design thing.
yeah.
And so what that means is, sorry, Dale, just remind me. Sorry, my head just went off on a tangent. Um, what are we talking about?
It was around
What was the?
if someone is struggling with
Oh
that
yes,
self-learning growth.
sorry.
Yeah, go,
Apologies,
go.
apologies. So continued professional development
Mm,
is needed. Yes,
mm,
100%. Because of this structure with inappropriate leadership and inappropriate seniors, the in the job or on the job mentoring, coaching, support
mm,
is no longer there.
yeah.
Right now, I'm only as good as I am because I spent the first 5 to 8 years of my career physically sitting in a studio or an
Mm,
office
yeah.
next to a midweight, a junior, a senior, a lead who I could say, whilst I'm mucking around in Azure, hey man, can you help me with, like, I don't know how to do this, or I'm recruiting, what do I do with that, or
Yeah.
consent forms, or whatever the hell you know what it's like. You got a new junior guy pestering you all the time, and that's
Yeah.
normal. You're a lead, you're a senior, you expect to share and teach.
Yeah.
People today don't have that tap on the shoulder
No.
support,
Yeah.
either virtually through Zoom
Mm,
or physically in an office,
yeah.
or at least physically in an office 1 day a week,
Yes.
right? Because that's why I'm pushing for the hybrid bit, because
Mm,
we don't learn remotely. That's
it's
very
true.
clear. We
Yeah.
don't. You need to be physically present, right? I mean, you
Mm,
can learn remotely. It's not that you can't, but if you
mm.
want to get it faster, better, easier kind of thing, then
Yeah.
physically is much is has got much better, bigger benefits.
Of
So
course,
yeah, so in a nutshell, the lack of actual seniors means that people aren't getting the on-the-job training that they deserve and expect, and historically has already built people
yeah,
like me. It's a talent creation machine,
of course.
which is stopped.
Yeah, and that's a big problem because you're going to have this gap of one generation of researchers that have not had that and are obviously are in those roles and eventually just through default will end up in senior roles, but have not had that ability to tap on a shoulder and to even like you say when I had it when I was in the tech. I was a tech practitioner before coming into customer experience and then eventually user research. But I was sat in an office. I was sat in a I don't know what a room, and there was a senior next to me. I was able to tap on his shoulder, asking questions about how to remove a virus and how to code. And you learn so much in those 8 hours or 6 hours. You learn so much compared to, like you say, now where you don't have that. Yeah, you can go on Google, you can watch a YouTube video, but then you've always got that you're risking absorbing information that's not correct as well,
Yeah.
and is not adapted to your circumstance because you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the experience to know where to look and to verify this is right, that's wrong, I should listen to this, I shouldn't listen to that. And that's the difficulty that I've had. And go, Nick.
Yeah, but context is everything in many respects in our world, right? You can have this gigantic book of knowledge. If I could get my whole brain and download it into a book and call it the Book of UX, and I gave it to you, that doesn't make you the perfect UX practitioner or a
No.
senior or anything like that
Yeah,
because you don't know when to apply the stuff in this book.
exactly.
And that's what this is about, right?
Mm,
You can go on AI, you can go on Medium, you can go on LinkedIn, you can even get valid or validated information,
yeah,
but you still don't know when to apply it. So what
yeah.
we end up with is people with a bunch of invalid information or
Mm,
misinformation
mm,
applied wrongly. And
yeah.
without that mentorship, what you see and what I see daily is what we call boiling the ocean,
Mm,
overworking.
yeah,
Like a lot of the user research today looks like market research because they're boiling the ocean,
yeah, yeah.
right? That's such a big deal. And if you're listening to this, that's a big deal. Don't be a
Mm,
part of that, right?
mm,
That's your competitive advantage,
yeah.
right? Is get yourself away from misinformation, right?
Yes,
Get the practice, do the hard work. It will
mm,
make you a better practitioner. I'll tell you one thing. Everybody's running scared in the face of AI, okay? Because it's unknown. I don't think it's a threat per se,
no,
but it's perceived can be perceived as one
yeah.
in some worlds.
Mm,
The value for user researchers, for people like you and me, Dale,
mm.
in the next 10, 20 years, and the reason why I am still better than AI at UXR is the interpersonal.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? You are a
I,
human, I'm a human, and we will remain so until the day we die.
I hope so.
Um, right? That human psychology, human to human psychology, human human interaction
Yeah,
is what produces the AI analyzable transcript,
yeah.
or at least for most of the interview type work.
Mm,
That requires massive amounts of human skill,
yeah,
and you see what I'm saying. So that's
yeah.
that's
No,
that's
absolutely.
that's where our value is moving forwards, and that's
Yeah.
what I would encourage everyone to become great at.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to touch on AI as well because you do talk about it a lot in a positive way, but a very balanced way as well, which I find really because there's a lot of scaremongering around AI. Um, I wanted to ask you, how do you see the future? I will start there, and then I suppose we
Yeah.
can run it back later. How do you see the future of UX research and AI? Because there are a lot of opinions out there. I've had people on the podcast as well that have varying opinions on it. I personally, I think I'm a similar mindset of yours that I don't fear it, but I'm just cautious of where to implement it in the research process and let's say analysis, things like that. I completely don't agree with interviewing AI as a replacement for users. That I'm not going down that path. But I'll leave leave this with you. How do you see the future?
Yeah, that synthetic users thing is a great way to trigger me. But everybody will know for themselves shortly enough why that is really insane, right? But let's move along from that. What is the future of AI for UX or for user researchers in particular? This is my opinion. right?
Mm.
So just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
Um, I think the quality is the not the new North Star, but the big deciding factor.
Mm.
And there's going to be a lot of hustle over the next 10 years as to how that happens. Now, AI can be a most powerful accelerator and kind of catalyst as a tool to help people who know what they're doing go faster,
Yeah.
right? That's a given, right?
Yeah.
And we see that today, and that is one pathway forwards in the future, creating quality using intelligent tooling,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
With less people in shorter time.
Yeah.
Right. So it more efficient build, more efficient learning, more efficient stuff. That's nailed on. However, there are going to be certain corners of the enterprise or the corporate world where money is more important than quality
Mm.
due to market factors, stuff, right? Now that's where things are going to get spicy. Also, you could look at it an enterprise corporate versus startup and SME, right?
Mm.
It's scaling. At the small end, at the SME and startup end, you get to see ultra hybridization of roles, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you see a PM with an array of bots in front of them, or a bot toolkit called the Product Builder's Toolkit, right? That's got a research bot, a design bot, a content bot, a service design bot, whatever else you
Mm.
need in
Yeah.
the box, right?
Mm.
But when startup becomes SME, small medium enterprise,
Mm.
uh, that box isn't really good enough anymore. Or is starting to wear a bit thin, if you know what I mean. It's not.
Yeah.
I've got one PM doing the role of five, instructing five different bots. Forget about doing the heavy lifting. That's an awful lot of. You need to have a lot of clue in all
Yeah.
those areas, and people don't have it,
No. Yeah.
right? And the AI can't guide you, or at least you're mad if you're putting your VC money into that. So, um, you have good quality AI supported and just get it over the line, cheap, quick, and dirty stuff.
Mm.
And you've got the scaling problem.
Yeah.
So as we get to the larger corporate and the enterprise, you end up back where we are today, I think, maybe a little bit narrower, leaner.
Mm.
Um, Maybe researcher and designer are in one,
Mm. Yeah.
right? Which is what the world that I came from in the UK in 2009. Everybody was a consultant or a architect.
Yeah.
So you did the research, you did the prototyping, then
Mm.
you did the user testing and did the whole cycle all in
Yeah.
one. And it meant that I wasn't having to transfer any knowledge to anybody
No.
because I did the research, I understood the personas, the context, everything, and then I could do wireframe in Azure or prototype a solution
Yeah.
and then test it to make sure I got it right and then go back to the audience.
Mm.
That's a very powerful cycle having it in one person. So
Absolutely.
those sorts of optimizations I personally think are likely.
Mm.
The reason why the roles split from all in one to
Mm.
dedicated because the skills market, right? We
Yeah.
didn't have researchers and designers.
Mm.
Arguably, we still don't, if you know what I mean. So, what needs to happen is I think designers are going to get research skills,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But it needs people like me and other senior researchers working
Mm.
with designers who are listening.
Yeah.
That's the problem right now, guys. If you
Mm.
haven't got a growth mindset, it's a problem because people are
Mm.
telling me about research who have never really done any research, and that's a big, big problem. Like you
Yeah.
need to just listen.
Mm.
Take all that brilliant design stuff. If you to take a creative director and give them 2 to 3, 5 years of research experience, they become a god, right? They become super powerful,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But it's that 2 to 5 years of hands-on experience that most of them don't want, or
Yeah.
people aren't prepared to spend. But if you can do it, you will become unbelievable. And then once you
Mm.
put the AI tooling into that,
Then
that's how we build great. That's how
yeah.
you make lots of money. That's how good happens.
Yeah. That's really interesting. So I want to also focus in on that there as well. So if someone is new to UX research, they're an intern or they're looking to enter the field of UX research, what advice would you have for them with regards to this potential in the future of designers learning research? And does that mean that the research role will eventually disappear? And if you are a UX, not the role itself, but just the position of UX researcher. So if you're a UX researcher now, early on as an intern, what do they focus on?
Yeah, it's a difficult call because
Mm,
I've got family, nephews and nieces and stuff who are at university right now.
mm.
And you're thinking, well, okay, one is studying medicine.
Okay.
Okay, AI
Medicine.
ain't replacing that anytime soon. I'm not going to have C3PO or some android, hitting a needle, sticking a needle in me anytime
Who
soon, right?
knows?
Or operating on me or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Um, so fine. So construction, physical world stuff, all immune or whatever,
Yeah.
right? However, knowledge workers, so my other cousin is doing economics,
Mm, mm.
right? Or if
Yeah.
you're doing law right now, these are things where you're thinking, well, actually, AI is going to have a major, major impact in these areas.
Yeah.
So, is there any value in going to university right now to learn a thing that's going to be replaced? I
Mm,
don't know. I don't know enough about that area,
yeah.
right? Maybe it just makes lawyers go faster, a lot faster, because you don't have to
Yeah.
spend years learning the law,
Yeah. Because you
right?
can also learn on the job almost.
Well, because then
You
the
have a
job is
personal
more about,
assistant.
yeah, or the job then becomes like us, we become user interface, they become
Mm.
client interface.
Yeah. Yeah.
The heavy lifting is done by the box.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I could. It's so early days. Who
Of
knows? That's just,
course. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, it's all kind of it's hypothetical, but yeah, sometimes you can see a trend or a potential of a trend of where it could lead. So I just wanted to pick your brains on that. We suppose in the next 5 minutes or so we'll start wrapping it up, but I like to always kind of end the recordings just focusing on those ones as I've just touched on now that are entering the field, and there is we've spoken about. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of confusion. There's this AI, and then there's this drive to become a senior as quick as possible and get into those roles. It can be overwhelming, but there are people out there that really love research or really love the idea of research and are drawn to it through various backgrounds, psychology, etc. What advice do you have for those ones that are entering this this seemingly topsy-turvy, crazy, wacky field?
Yeah.
um,
Stay busy.
yeah.
Stay busy. And I mean stay busy. If you're looking for work and you're getting work, it's tough. I get that, right? But if you've got an ask of your employer or asking at interview, ask them about seniors.
Mm.
Use
Okay.
the approach to user centricity. Be
Mm.
careful when you ask that question because it'll probably lose you the interview, right? People say, "Oh, this one knows too much. Get rid of them," right? But ask them about is there any on-the-job mentoring or support
Mm.
from seniors,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I think that's a very reasonable question to ask, and I don't think
100%.
it's not a threatening question.
Mm.
But the point being is because of that pyramid we talked about earlier of designers and creatives, you're not going to get the training you need. So you're going to
Mm.
be on the job like most people are today, terrified, trying to
Mm.
do actual real life project work, but
Yeah.
not really knowing what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And without the support to ask. And that's
Yeah.
that's the world. And when you get challenged, you get defensive and it gets horrible and you can't
Mm.
learn.
Yeah.
So when I say stay active, if you're in that world of I
Mm.
don't have support, do the research anyway. Now,
Yeah.
there's good reasons for me saying this, and this I think is good advice.
Mm.
Product managers are going to do this too. It's true for everybody, but a dedicated user researcher or UX researcher, if you are doing research sessions week on week, sprint on sprint, or just with any kind of real regularity,
Mm.
you will learn.
Yeah.
You will learn. It's better to do it with a senior or somebody reviewing your tapes, shadowing you. When I say reviewing
Mm.
your tapes, God, I sound old. Watching the videos back, right?
Yeah.
Maybe shadowing you, sitting their camera off. Not
Yeah.
ideal, but you know, understand what I'm saying. But
Sure.
at least doing some way of supporting you. Then
Mm.
you will go faster. But even if you don't, when you're
Mm.
watching those videos back, you will hopefully see a ton of errors,
Mm. Yeah.
right? Of I've been leading the witness, I cut them off there, I did all bad things. You
Yeah.
will, I still cringe watching back my videos because I hate my voice. I hate, we all hate that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But every time I go, oh, I did a bad thing. It's an
Mm.
action replay of your job.
Yeah.
And there's no other role, unless you're a sportsman or something, that has that, right? Like
Yeah.
an engineer can't really watch back their performance, but we can,
Yeah.
right? We can. And so if you can do that with a mentor or somebody, that's way better. But do it
Mm.
on your own because
Yeah.
you're going to have to do it for the Oh no, you won't because the AI is doing the analysis now. You need to watch it back.
Yeah.
Watch your non-verbal communication, your
Yeah.
posture, your body stuff,
Mm.
the flow,
Mm.
all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe even ask the AI to give you a critique of your user research style from the transcript. I've never done that before. It's just occurred to me as I'm saying that.
You're
So
gonna
I
try
don't
it
know if that's a
later.
good or a bad thing to do, right? But in the absence of no one, it's got to be better than I think, right? This is murky territory. The idea that
Yeah.
researchers are untrained and feeding insight back with no training, that's why we have PhDs, frankly, because the rest of the world doesn't support that stuff.
Absolutely. No, no, no. I like all of that advice, and yeah, I'm noticing. Well, I've been in it as well. So early on in my career, being a researcher of one in an organization is becoming so much more common. And you're sat there. I've had this many times. You're sat there, and you don't have an idea, and you wish that you could just tap on someone's shoulder, just write a message to. Thankfully, I do have people in my network that have been able to help me and support me. But when they don't have the context of what you're working on, the business goals, etc., and obviously there's some things you can't share with them. They can give you advice, but it's better if there is a mentor or a senior in your team. And like most roles outside of our role have that. I don't know, a carpenter or a doctor. You have to go through that process of being shadowed, and then they give you a bit of the tooling, and you handle a part of the operation. That's all part of the learning. Instead, our our field that's dying out, unfortunately, and you're finding a lot that literally from their first day are a researcher of one and are having to do all the uplifting themselves with no real hands-on experience or just head knowledge. So yeah, that's really good advice for those ones that are in that position themselves. And I like also the watching back your recordings. I do that all the time and cringe.
Yeah,
um, but that's a way to learn, and that's a
that's how
way
you learn.
to yeah, exactly. And also I've done it. I've shown the video to someone else and just said, look, could you just watch this back? Obviously forget all of the data and stuff what we're talking about, but could you just critique me on my question styles or the sorts of questions I'm asking? Is it too biased? Am I leading? Am I
Yeah,
asking, I don't know, two questions in one? And
yeah.
that's helped me a lot as well. So I don't know if that's something you would agree with,
A
but
lot,
yeah.
you know, a lot of this is just genuine practice.
Yeah.
Okay. A good analogy is like getting on stage for a conference, right? I can
Mm.
get on stage for a conference now in front of 500 people without preparation, you know, and not freak out. Get on stage, be totally calm, and smash it. And that's just practice. It's like jumping out of an airplane with a parachute on. The first time you're absolutely terrified, but by the 50th time you're doing flips out the door, right? And that's
Yeah.
kind of how I am on with the stage thing. But it's also true with your performance as a user researcher.
Yeah.
It's the bit in front of people is the main event. That's your actual job. Everything else,
Yes.
in my humble opinion, is supporting that main event, right?
Absolutely.
Um, and so, you know, that's what uh, I think. I think sorry, I'm going to go a bit tangential. Big piece of advice for you guys. When I say marketing people, I don't mean marketing people. But in terms of if you're a team of one, like Dale's talking about, promoting insight internally is such a big deal. It's almost as big as that kind of main event role of doing the preparation work. That's what made me think of doing the actual interviews or
Hmm.
the evaluation work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Um, Sharing stuff, becoming that beacon of insight supply
Mm.
is that will do you the most amount of favors
Mm.
you can, right? People will respect you, they'll come to you, they'll involve you more.
Mm.
So it's just about, you know, it's okay to be a team of one, but share what you know and use other people to help get more sampling to make that even more firm or more valid or more confident.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because
100%.
that's what people want from a researcher, right? They want
Mm.
confident insight.
Yeah. Exactly.
right?
That's
And if it helps move their needles, then you're the man, the
yeah.
person. You know what I mean? It's going to work. It's going to turn out well.
Of course, of course, and that's a really nice way to end this recording. It's been a pleasure to have this conversation with you. I really enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. Also hearing your positivity about the field and that it's not all doom and gloom. That there is there is a positive side, even if there are difficulties and there are challenges. But it's not all. It's not all. It's not ending. Our field is not ending right now. So that's a
It
positive.
isn't, but I mean, people should know that there is a potential for it all to end, and it will
Of
end in
course,
some areas. I mean, the landscape is going to change,
of course.
but the nature of insight and insight generation is still very, very necessary. And that's
Mm,
what I would say to everybody is work out where your value is as a researcher in an AI supported insight generation world, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
So we're doing all the real work, but the AI is doing the heavy lifting to help us go faster. And what that means in real terms is bigger samples. Okay,
Yes.
that's where the confidence comes from. So
Mm,
it doesn't mean, oh, I can do 5 people quickly. It means you can do 10 people in the same time.
mm. Oh yeah, exactly.
And that's ultimately what this is about.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Probably get you back on for another podcast episode if you're up for it, and we can deeper dive into that as well. But it's been great, Nick.